Have you ever been watching your favorite streamer play a new fighting game, and it makes you so excited for the release that you gather up money and buy it on release day? You get extremely excited booting up the game and seeing the loading screen for the first time, and you just can't wait to get into the game and start playing. You'll probably play through the tutorial and beat up on the bot, and then hop right into a game, and immediately get obliterated by some random guy. This is one of the most demoralizing feelings I have ever felt, and this actually happened recently with the release of Tokon. I hopped into a match and had a close game with my first opponent, but the second opponent who was playing Spider-Man, I got eviscerated by him so bad and it wasn't even close. That frustration is a feeling that only a few other things in my life could ever evoke. The frustration you feel is a mix of feeling helpless, a lack of understanding, and a feeling that no matter what you do, you will still lose. It's honestly very overwhelming, and one of the reasons that people try one fighting game and drop the genre as a whole immediately. Because the payoff is nowhere near immediate. The feeling of inferiority that you feel towards your opponent is one that I've only ever experienced in one other game genre, and that would be MOBAs. Because in MOBAs, if you are losing heavily, not only is your opponent probably better than you, they're probably also higher level, and they have more gold and items or whatever it may be, and it feels like once you lose the beginning of the game, you have another 30 minutes of losing to do. Outside of gaming, learning guitar has been one of these frustrations for me, and was actually the inspiration for this video. I would say learning guitar is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, so when I was sitting down doing my daily practice and I just could not get this exercise I was trying to work, it was like my fingers were trying their hardest to not cooperate with me. I got so frustrated, I unplugged my guitar, put it on the stand, and didn't play it for the rest of the day. I thought to myself in that moment, this kind of feels like when I'm losing in a fighting game. The feeling of knowing how to do a combo, but your hands don't want to cooperate with you, and the frustration that comes, and a feeling of inferiority to, in fighting games, your opponent, but on guitar, your peers who have been doing it way longer than you. But the reason I make this video is because when you overcome that obstacle, it's one of the most rewarding things you could do as a human. This is one of the many reasons why League of Legends is one of the biggest video games ever created. I had never played League consistently up until recently. I had tried it out a few times, but never got into it, which was probably for the better if we're being honest with ourselves. But as of recently, my friends have gotten into the game, and I've decided to play it with them. The first couple of weeks that I was playing with them might have been the worst time I've ever had playing a fighting game. I was playing with my friend who's a high level, and has been playing for a long time, so even in normal draft games, my opponents were so much better than me that I lost every single game consistently, and it felt like I was forever destined to lose. But I'm very stubborn, and refused to give up on anything, so I watched a few videos and really tried to pay attention and apply what it said to my games. And while it took a little bit of time, I improved to the point where I'm consistently winning my lane, and that rewarding feeling is exactly the feeling that I was looking for, and I understood why people played these games. Now, I understand this is the reason why everyone plays fighting games, or MOBAs, or anything that really is hard. Whether it be a video game or anything else, because the struggle it takes to get to the positive side is so addicting, and you spend all this time trying to get good at it, and when you finally get good at it, it's super enjoyable. If you think about all these games that have been blowing up as of recent, they really all have this type of thing. Souls-like games are huge right now, roguelike games are super big right now, MOBAs and even fighting games are growing. People are looking for a challenge that they can overcome, and these games are very good at providing it. This also contributes to why it's so frustrating to suck at these games and learn, because once you've caught that feeling of addiction once, you start to apply it to literally everything that's hard. So if you spend a lot of time getting good at Souls-like games, and you finally get to the point where you're a good player, that adrenaline rush starts to wear off after a while, so you try a new genre, and maybe it happens to be fighting games. You see, the human brain has a way of undermining itself by underestimating how much effort you really put into something to improve, until you do it again. I consider myself a very good Souls player. I've 100%ed almost all the FromSoft games and have played countless other Souls-like games and beat them. If you go back to my old videos, you'll find a video of my first experience with Dark Souls 3 and how it was the most frustrating thing ever and how I almost refunded the game, but somehow I pushed through it, and that showed me that first adrenaline rush. And it's funny, because I know how hard it was for me, I know logically that happened, but for some reason, I never really feel like it was that bad, and I don't really remember the struggle that I went through. Once I go back to square one with things like fighting games, where I've been decent before at certain times, but I've never been good enough to transfer my skill across games, I get this feeling of helplessness. Something about me personally is that I'm extremely competitive and hate losing. My friends and I have debates all the time about how sometimes they're just playing for fun, and my response to that is winning is fun, and that if I want to play a game just to have fun, it wouldn't be one with competition in it. So you can already see how this would tie into the frustration of learning fighting games, because it seems like for as long as you end up playing, at the beginning, all you do is lose. But there have been 2 times in the years that I have played fighting games that I have surpassed this continuous loss, and this is Season 1 of Tekken 8 and Smash Bros. Ultimate. Tekken 8 Season 1 was a solo endeavor, none of my friends had the game, and I would just play it by myself. I ended up hitting the highest red rank, and being a couple games off Mighty Ruler, which isn't amazing by any means, but for my first 3D fighter, I was very proud of myself. The more interesting of the two, though, is Smash Bros. Ultimate, because when my friends and I were hosting arenas, and we used to do it very consistently, 2 of my friends started playing online a lot when I wasn't playing in the arena. One of my friends is especially good, hitting Elite Smash on almost every low tier in the game, and no, I'm not friends with LTG. But moving on from that point, I got so frustrated because I would lose every single game due to a lack of practice. So I started practicing and finally choosing a main after playing random for as long as I can remember. I started playing Falcon and watching so many fatality videos that I've probably seen every video he's made on Captain Falcon at this point. But all this work led to me being better and winning more consistently. So while this video is titled Why It's Frustrating to Learn Fighting Games, the real thing that you should think about is if it's so frustrating to learn fighting games, there's gotta be some sort of payoff that people love on the other side, because who would play them otherwise? Can you imagine playing fighting games, or anything hard for that matter, if the reward for going through the frustration was lackluster? Nobody would ever play that game ever. So the reason why it's so frustrating to learn these games is because you see what's possible and what you could eventually do, and it feels out of your grasp. But in truth, it isn't. None of the stuff you see anybody doing is out of your grasp. You can get to those high ranks, you can do those hard combos, you can do hard things. Moving outside the video game stuff for a little bit, and to get a little serious, a lot of people have never done anything hard in their lives, so they just don't believe they can do anything hard. I'm here to tell you that you can prove yourself wrong so that you can't have that belief anymore, because that belief holds you back from so many things. I used to think like that, and I wasn't cut out to do hard things. But if I wasn't cut out to do hard things, this YouTube channel wouldn't work. It's just as hard to be good at fighting games, and it's hard to do a lot of things, but that's what creates individuals. If nothing was hard, then nobody would take interest in your accomplishments, and they wouldn't matter. Because there's no exclusivity to it anymore, and exclusivity creates value. That's simple supply and demand. So if you typed in the title of this video into the search bar, feeling hopeless and that you'll never learn how to play these amazing games, I want you to try to stick it through and really practice with intention of trying to improve. Because once you see that breakthrough, you will feel accomplished, because no matter what people say, even if it's just a video game, it is hard to be good at fighting games, and that's something to be proud of. And the payoff is definitely worth it, so take a deep breath, realize that not being good at fighting games right now doesn't mean that you never will be good, and try to love the process and celebrate when you hit your first combo, because at the end of the day, progressing in anything is something to celebrate. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot to me if you liked, subscribed, and or commented. It would help me continue to make these videos and continue to improve. With all that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, God bless.